choose my life.
Hi, how's it going? I'm Bonnie Violet. I'm a trans gender, spiritual drag art, and digital chaplain. And in case you don't know where you are, you have yourself at the Idaho Drag Is Divine Drag and Spiritual series with my guest, who is my fifth drag artist that I'll be speaking with this evening. I want to say to Julia real quick. Welcome back. It's great to see you, sweet. This episode is well. Glad you could join us. And for folks who've never been here before, if you're either watch live on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever you're watching us live, if you're watching, feel free to make comments and to ask questions. If we want to engage with you, we will. If we don't don't take it personal. Sometimes things just flow that way, but most of the time we love just hearing from us, and we'll interact with you as much as we can. If you're coming across this conversation after the live, whether you're listening to a podcast or watching the video on YouTube or whatever, still would love to hear from you. So you can check out the list in the description to get connected with myself or Lavender, our guest, or leave questions, comment, and do engage with us. It'd be great to hear from you. I'm not gonna belabor it any further. I'm gonna go ahead and end on our guest this evening. Hey, Lavender.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. We take a minute and just introduce yourself real briefly.
Yeah, of course. My name is Lavender Beauchamp. I am from Buhl, Idaho, which is about 20 minutes outside of Twin Falls.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing drag in 2017, which I think is the same year I came out. So I came out with guns blazing.
Right.
And yeah, I've been the second year I did drag, I won Miss Battle Royale Twin Falls, which was super cool and so one of my crowning achievements. And yeah, I kind of took a break for almost 2 years with COVID and then and everything, and I just wasn't feeling it. And yeah, I kind of got back into it this year, and now we've needed it more than ever. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that introduction. And Julia says Lavender look incredible, and I would concur.
Thank you, Julia.
I'm so glad that you said your full name and that I didn't, because I would have pronounced it all wrong. So
I say it differently at times. It depends on how I'm feeling. Sometimes I just say like Beauchamp. It depends on who I'm around. Mm-hmm. If I'm around people who I know say route, I'm like, oh, like Beauchamp. But if it's just like the average Joe, I'm like, oh, Lavender Beauchamp.
We'll see. And I would have said like Beauchamp. Beauchamp.
Yeah, the thing is like Beauchamp. I think the P silent, I don't know. I just like the way it looks when it's written down.
Yeah. It's great when you say it. I'll get better at it for sure.
Thank you. I've had lots of practice.
Right. Well, and it was French, right? Or is it French?
Yes, it is French, and it is actually the last name of Claire on Outlander. She's the main character. She goes back in time, and it's like really good fun. And yeah, that's her maiden name. And yeah, and it means field. And like I told you earlier, turns out my name means like lavender field in French, or lavender meadows. That's awesome. Yeah, it was just meant to be, I think.
Yeah, totally. Well, so my first question I almost always ask everyone is, I would like to hear what you were taught, or what you came to understand about spirituality as a young son or child.
Oh, I grew up. My mother. Oh my gosh, I grew up in a very like atheist somewhat. Like my grandma did not have good experience with religion, and so she's always like And then my mom is just very like, choose what you believe. Like there's a higher power. Like it doesn't need a name. You can give it a name. Like whatever the fuck you want to do. Right. And then we have like a little bit of Mormon. We have a little bit of Catholic and my extended and like my grandparents and stuff like that. But yeah, but growing up, it was kind of like my grandma's like doesn't mess with religion at all. And for the most part, like I grew up not liking the idea of, oh my God, I'm eating so much delicious hair. Mm.
Yum, yum.
But I grew up, yeah, like my mom's like, there's a higher power. My grandma's like, no, they're not.
Mhm.
And like, but in the end, both of them are like, doesn't matter. Like, there's no point in sitting here dwelling on if you're making mistakes, like, and if that's gonna, you know what I mean, equal you burning
Right.
forever. You know what I mean? It's like there's
Mhm.
no, like, it just is. What's gonna
And
happen?
how,
Like,
yeah,
it's not
how,
black
what,
and white. It's rainbow.
right, right, right. How was it socially? Like, growing up in Wendell, which is not too far from Buhl, it seemed
Yeah.
like everyone was either Mormon, Catholic, and then you weren't either than either of those, which I wasn't. Then you kind of, I don't know, you were just kind of in a different league, so to speak. Did you feel that way?
Oh, 100%. I got into arguments with kids all the time, and I had like nobody else who was like, yeah, that kid's like onto something. You know what I mean? Like it was very like, yeah, Mormon. I didn't know like what religion kids were when I was younger because I didn't
Mhm.
care. My mom was like, who cares? You know what
Right,
I
right,
mean? It's like
right.
that's in my mind, it's always just been such a minuscule, unnecessary thing to dwell over.
Mhm.
But it was very, yeah, like kids didn't get it. Kids were all like, well, what do you believe? I'm like, I don't know, whatever I feel like. Today, like my friend Delaney says, I feel like believing in the spaghetti monster. Like,
Mhm.
and it was very weird. Like, I had kids who didn't like me because of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
got into arguments, and you know what I mean? And that's not helpful. I had to learn that as older. Does you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Arguing with random people about it doesn't help anything. So
Right, right.
don't worry about that. It's a waste of your time. Um,
And then
and yeah, I
for
kind of did feel alone in that like area in school. I was all like, everyone else is so stuck up and believes in this weird guy in the sky, and everyone needs to calm down.
right, you just need to come on.
Yeah, and it was really prevalent. Like even in little like kids were all like, "Are you going to heaven?" And I'm like, "What?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I'm a good
Right,
person. You aren't. I don't like you."
right. So totally. And kind of like it sounds like you said your sexuality kind of changed. Where would you say you land with it today? If it like
Um,
describe it.
I like agnostic. I think is the best way to kind of describe it. Is like I know there's a higher power. I believe in like, but I don't know what it is. And that's what's
Mm,
kind of fun about it, is I don't
yeah.
know. So
Yep.
like if you know all the answers, you don't have any questions. If you don't have any questions,
I know it's
then
like
you just like
what else
know
there to
everything.
do, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just like I don't care what it is. I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna do what I believe is best. And I'm gonna treat people with respect. And I don't have, you know what I mean, without having to
Hmm.
have a reason. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I
Right.
need to be told to be a good person. That seems sounds like you're a bad person if you need to be told to be a good person. You know what I mean? Like you don't need a reason. Quit finding reasons to be a good.
Mm,
Just do it. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's my kind of view on it. Is all like I love like wands. Like I used to make like Harry Potter wands, and I want to again. But like I make wands, and I love crystals, and
Mm,
there is magic out there, and I do believe it. We've lost touch with it. I
yeah.
think we've lost touch with the spirituality, our magic. You know what I mean? I think it was Mother Nature. I think it was just our ability to cooperate and like learn with the universe and our surroundings. And that sounds so much more fun to me than a man in the sky judging you. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's one of the things I love about these conversations is that I've had different relationships with religion and different understandings of God and higher power, but eventually, like my understanding of it just fails, and so and my understanding of what and why how like usually
Hmm.
like gets blown out of the water. So I love hearing other people's perspective and how they kind of engage or interact or words they choose to talk about what their experiences, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Amelia saying terms of endearment, right?
This is my sister.
Yes,
Hi.
yes. Welcome. So glad you all joined us. And so I mean, I guess there's kind of assumption too, like that I guess religion oftentimes is like kind of leads to like not straightness around LGBTQ stuff. How was it growing up as a queer person?
I didn't come out till I was, I think, 18. And I was never like a really sexual kid, so it didn't really affect me. Like everyone knew. Like I used to run and like hold like pretend I'd like tits sometimes. Like I'd run on my tiptoes and like there was obvious signs that I probably was a little light in the loafers. But it really didn't occur to me at all until I was older. And I was like, oh shit, what? You know what I mean? And
Right.
then I thought I came to terms with it pretty quickly myself, but I didn't want to tell people. Like I have a uncle who's gay. Like my family has, on both sides of my family, have always openly been like, just you do you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I was never like I was taught, my parents did a great job of like, don't judge, not your business. Like
Right.
and I was still scared. Like even though I had no reason. Even my family was like, why were you scared? And I'm like, I don't know.
Wait,
And
aren't we supposed to be? Right.
yeah, and I think it was just the fear that like I knew life was going to be harder if I was. I think that was my main thing is I was kind of because I came out as bisexual, and now I think it's more of an appreciation of a women's body. Because in my head I'm like, I did like girls when I was younger. Pretty sure.
Right.
I think I did. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure I liked some girls. And I think as I get older, I'm like, I think I just like, I don't know, an appreciation for their hair, their makeup. I think it was just kind of envy.
Sure.
And so now I'm definitely more gay, but for years I was like, I think I'm bisexual. But then but then I don't know. And then I grew up and I'm like, I don't really want to have sex with a woman. But if I was drunk enough at a bar and she was pretty, sure, why not? But like with consent, everything is
yes, totally with consent. Yes.
But you know what I mean? But yeah, so yeah, it was harder for me than anyone else. And I went through like self-harm and those kind of things.
Related to queerness or
I think so. I think it was just kind of an all-around like I think that was mostly it. Was just the I think there was just the worry. You know what I mean? It was like I didn't think it was wrong. I just didn't want to be gay. Like I remember like this kid burped in my hair when I was on a bus. He'd been bullying me and I punched him, felt great. He got in trouble. I didn't. But and I remember like he was all like you suck dick or something as I was walking off the bus when I was in like middle school. And I was and I was like, I don't care if people do or don't. I just don't. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't like prejudiced. You know how I didn't have internalized homophobia. I just was all like, that's difficult to handle. Like you see it on the news, you see gay rights, and you're like, if I am gay, I can't. At the time, I was like, I don't think I can get married. You know what I mean? And it's all like, like fuck. So yeah,
was it as bad as you thought it was going? It sounds like it would be difficult for you. What changed?
Coming out?
Or yeah, that's what changed it for you.
Changed what? Sorry, I lost track of the question.
Oh yeah, no, like it sounded like you're having a really, like you said you didn't want to gay.
Oh yeah,
and you were kind of like feeling it, and it sounds like it's difficult. What changed for you?
I kind of, I honestly don't. I just came out one night. I think. I don't remember that time. I don't know. I don't remember. I remember it not being significant by any means. Like I literally think I just like trauma blocked it unintentionally. But I think I just came out one night. I think I was just like I came out as bisexual. But I was just like, I'm bisexual. My parents were like, okay.
Right. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
So
but yeah,
were you saying things got worse when you came out, or when you came out, is that also when you kind of came to understand for yourself?
Body dysmorphia wise, it got worse. But confidence wise, with like my humor, with like how I interacted with people, I genuinely did become more comfortable when interacting with people, I think. But when it came to like, so that got easier and I didn't have to like hide, and it was pretty obvious. Like I said, it was pretty obvious, and now I just wasn't conscious about that anymore. So kind of just took that like don't act gay off my shoulders, which is a lot when you're trying to like when you want to do this, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think but yeah, so for like So it was good and bad. I had ebbs and flows. And then you get into like gay culture, and then you start getting into
Mhm.
drag, and then like porn and shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's all like, and I think my I don't know if it. Yeah, I think it made it worse, not gonna lie. I think I was just comparing
Gotcha.
myself to all these, and then Grinder, and only the hot guys are the ones who show themselves.
Yeah.
The hot ones with, like, and it's all like, ugh.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah. It's
didn't help.
so complicated. Yeah, totally. And when did
Yeah,
it
but I like dressing up as a woman because then I have curves and that helps.
well, when did drag come into your life? Or what
Um,
impression was drag like?
so I remember I had no idea what it was, and I went to my first drag show. Amelia was in it. It was hosted by Ursula, who is like, she's kind of retired a bit. But she is still like one of the drag icons in Twin Falls, like easily,
Mm.
Ursula. And I went to a drag show because my friends were like, "Want to go to this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I thought it was just men dressing up as girls for fun. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because I remember I went to my first Pride. I think before I came out. I think. Um, and because I went with my friends, because I had some gay friends and siblings, and I went to Salt Lake Pride, which is fire.
Mhm.
Salt Lake Pride is good. I had
Yeah,
a great
yeah.
time. And one of the kids who was with us was in drag, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Why is he dressed up as a girl?" And my friends were all like, "For fun." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I'd seen it, and then I realized I'd seen drag and stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, then I went to a drag show, and I was like, "This is the best shit I've ever seen in my entire life."
Right.
And it was a small town, like I don't. It was a fairly big show, I do remember, and I dressed in like this pink lace, like way too skin
Mhm.
tight shirt, and it was great.
Right.
And yeah, and I literally came home, and the sun's like made up. I promise this. I came home and I like woke my mother up from bed. I'm like,
Mhm.
"Mom, I found this thing called drag tonight, and I need to do it." And this was like, this is the year I came out, like in the same like 6 months to maybe a year. And my mom was all like, "Work." And then I went to bed, and I was up late, and that's when I discovered Willem.
Mhm.
Willem was the first professional drag queen. I found him on YouTube.
Ah.
And he did it. It was an interview from one of like the first drag cons. Like it didn't even look like Willem. Like
Mhm.
it was, oh,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen. And they were so funny and didn't give any fucks. And then my mom came up that same night to my room and was all like, "I kind of figured you'd be a drag queen." And I was like, "Ah," like, and yeah, it was great. And yeah, and here we are.
Yeah. How has that journey been for you in kind of becoming Lavender?
Um, I don't know. I just kind of threw myself into it. I didn't have a drag mom. Um,
Mhm.
I just kind of went on YouTube. I remember first makeup video I watched was of like James Charles. Terrible reference. His
Yeah.
makeup. There was the Don't watch it. There are so many unnecessary stupid steps I've never seen before in my entire life. And I remember trying to watch this video and just looking fucking crazy because I didn't know how to do makeup
Mhm.
either.
Right, right.
I remember going in my makeup for the first time. That was terrifying. I remember being scared. Like
Going
buying
and
makeup.
buying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I went by myself. I went to
At like
Walmart.
the Walgreens or yeah.
Yeah, I went to Walmart. And it was scary, but like everyone was super chill. There was like a super sweet lady behind the desk, and she obviously didn't give
Mhm.
a singular. She just wanted to go
Right.
home. And yeah, and then I just started like accumulating. Like I finally got rid of. Well, I didn't have. Well, I want to. I have it organized and separated. But
Right.
yeah. I started off with like my baby drag wardrobe of just finding anything in your size at will. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
just the most random skirt that you look back at now and you're like, oh, like you know what I mean? And just
You're like
starting,
it was a skirt.
yeah. And I just invested in it and all these terrible clothes, and I bought a bunch of makeup right out the bag, and I just
Mhm.
went at first and just yeah.
And how would you describe Lavender now to other people who haven't your act or met you?
Um, like I feel like a lot of queens say it, but it's just like a hyper extension of like me. Even then, I don't even
Mhm.
know if it's hyper. like it's just me, but like I'm looking in the mirror more than
yeah.
you know what I mean? I'm just touching my hair more than I am when I'm not in drag.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it does bring out a certain level of confidence, especially when you see, like, especially when you're around other queens and you guys are just like feeling it, you're all cinched, you're beat, you know what I mean? Like, I just did a wig and I'm wearing it for the first time and I love it. And like, yeah, there's just a thrill
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is that just like makes it more fun. Yeah, it's just me, but
So what
a
would
little
people
bit
expect?
higher and a little and just in makeup.
What would people get if they came to a show that you were in, and what would perform or
They would get some half decent singing because I insist on wearing a corset when I sing, even when I shouldn't. And it affects my
that'd be
performance every
tough.
time.
Yeah.
Every time. And I still do it because I can't not be cinched. So they'll get some half decent singing, some really dramatic Barbara Streisand numbers, probably. Um, yeah. And then I'll lip sync some Barbara Streisand numbers. And then we'll watch a slideshow about Barbara. And then I'll show you my tattoo of
Do you
Barbara.
like
And then that's
Barbara?
the show. Yeah, I love Barbara Streisand.
How did you get into Barbara?
Huh?
How did you get into Barbara? Barbara is like I think an older icon. You know? She's been around a lot.
I don't know how I got into Barbara. I think it just happened one day. I think I was just I remember. No, I do know. I took that back. My favorite Christmas songs was from one of Barbara Streisand's first Christmas albums that she did, because it's one of my mom's favorite Christmas albums. So I listened to her all the time growing up, and I'm like, this bitch can fucking sing. And as a kid, like I grew up in the country, and like we didn't have like we had a TV, but we had like our 4 channels, and then we had like our computer, but only mom ever got on the computer, because why would I get on the computer? I have a wizard warlord to go fight in the backyard. You know? And I don't remember where I was going with this.
I don't know. It was to hear about the wizard warlord.
I know, me too. And then I was like, no, wait, we aren't going there. What was we talking?
And you grew up in Buhl or Kimberly area? Was it Buhl?
Buhl. So Buhl is the opposite of Kimberly, kind of location wise.
I thought you grew up in Buhl. You're living in Kimberly now. You're moving to Buhl, right?
I live in
like that?
Filer. Yeah.
Filer.
Which is in between Twin and Buhl. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, I'm in Filer right now, and then my parents are building a house in Buhl. Actually on my uncle's or on our family's property. My uncle has a winery. He has a Helsinki winery in Buhl. And so we're building on some of the family property down there. And I'm really excited to move back because we're actually going to be only, I don't even think, a quarter mile from the first house my parents built down there. So I'm excited to move back down because we moved away in like 2014 out of Buhl, and then we moved to Twin, and then so I'm excited to move back down there. I love it down there.
Yeah. You had mentioned earlier, I think it was in the beginning, you introduced yourself that like in the last year or so you got back into drag again. What kind of caused that? And it's something like you said, now it's more important ever. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I kind of just got back into it because I really got on myself during COVID. Like my body dysmorphia like went through the roof, and like I just could not like see myself in a corset, like because I actually gotten like I'd lost a little bit of weight, you know what I mean, and it's all in my head, you know what I mean. But like, and I was to a point where I was like, okay, I'm feeling better about myself, and then COVID, and I lost, kind of gained some weight back, and then I just like I couldn't put on the corset, like I couldn't, like it was still cinched where I originally had it, and it was like, you know what I mean, and it just starts to really, like to me, it just really got to me, and I was like, I can't put on makeup. I couldn't shave my face because I like to keep, you know what I mean? I didn't want my face to look chubby, so I like my beard so it can, you know what I mean? And it got really, and I just couldn't do it. And then I was just like, I gotta get, and when the people were asking me about it, you know what I mean? People are like, are you doing drag? And I'm like, not right now. And they're like, why? And I'm like yeah. And I'm like, you're right. And then Amelia has been on my ass about it. She never stopped. She was all like, don't give up. And yeah, and then I was like, I just gotta like, and then it really turns out that I like wigs. I like styling
Mm,
wigs. One takes me a week and I have like 6 mental breakdowns, and it probably isn't good for my mental health in the end,
mm,
but they always turn out half
right.
decent. And I think they're fun. And yeah, and then I was like, well, I want to do more wigs. And I guess if I make wigs, I have to do drag. Well,
Mm,
but yeah, and I was like, I just gotta get back into it. Like, if I can push past the body dysmorphia and I can push past all these stupid things,
mm.
like it
And
doesn't look
does drag
like
make
me.
it
That's the
worse,
whole point of it.
or
Hmm?
is drag make that more difficult for you, your body dysmorphia, or?
No, it helped. I think it was helping me because it helped embrace my curves. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I'm able to wear these
Yeah.
massive hip pads because I have these massive shoulders, and like I can give myself
Mm,
really nice like hourglass silhouette. But yeah, I think it was just having to like look at myself at the time, just like not with my clothes on. You know what I mean? I didn't want to like um but yeah, so I think it was just at the time. But it wasn't drag that did it. It
mm.
was just to get into drag, I have to look at parts of me that I didn't want to.
Got you.
You
Yeah.
know?
So yeah. So it wasn't in drag. It was just kind of where you were at that time.
Yeah, no, it wasn't drag at all. Like I've always liked, I was all like, I have to get back to that at some point. I just have to get
Mm.
over this bullshit first, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mental love. Those are
Right.
really bad British accent. I apologize.
I was yeah. Well, yeah. What kind of accent was that?
That is moving on. Anyways, next question.
Right. I was going to ask you. You had mentioned kind of around your magic and it's kind of your spiritual kind of an exploration, or kind of changes. Have you ever incorporated your drag with that? Is it connected in any way? And if,
Yeah, I really like flowers, and I
Mhm.
like elemental aspects of things. Like I really like
Earth, wind, fire, sort of.
yeah. Like I've done like a Halloween look where I had like it was so much fun. I got like little wooden animals and pumpkins. I like nature, like the my promo picture. That fabric is like this like blue, green, purple, like chrome shift, and it was like $100 a yard at Joann's. You know what I mean? Like some
Yeah.
stupid price, and I paid for a bunch of it, but it's so worth it. It looks like water, and like it just
Mhm.
like I love I love classic silhouettes, but I love like yeah, kind of like that like I idolize the female body and I want to
Mhm.
like recreate that, but
Like
then
Stevie
like
Nicks vibe, or
I don't
no?
more so
Not to compare you to anyone else.
I'm like I have this and I'm trying to like Adele's current silhouette.
Mm.
Literally every time I see a video for performing. So that's my inspo for silhouette. Just like kind of that classic, like I liked when like there was like the broader shoulders, like the big flare, you know what I mean? And then the
Mhm.
small waist, but then you have like the big hips, then like mermaid silhouette. So I love like the classic female of like and you know of the curves and having the body and then like with natural tones and stuff. I don't know what I'm talking about right now.
You're
My
fine.
brain, you asked me that question and my brain went on overload.
On a tangent. Okay, I am enjoying you so much.
Okay, so does my relationship correlate? No.
Okay, there's not a right or wrong
No.
answer.
Actually, not at all. I take that back. I tried. I thought it did, maybe. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, two separate things don't
Oh my
exist
goodness.
together. Yeah.
I think, I think, I'm trying to think the best way to like, I don't know the best way. I don't really incorporate my religion or my beliefs of life onto anything. Actually, now that
Oh,
I'm thinking about it, because in my head, it's kind of just like, I don't know,
it's
it's over there.
right.
Like that's not, you know what I mean? Like I don't really incorporate it into anything. Like I like to meditate and I like to imagine that I'm like magical and like
But you
I
don't
don't
do it in
know.
drag, right?
Hmm?
You don't do that in drag.
No,
Meditate.
I should. I think I like the magic. I think the fact that I get to look like dresses and look like a wizard is probably the most like I like the fact that I get to look like, because as a kid I wanted to be that wizard. I had so many wizard robes. I was a wizard for like 7 years straight. Like it's
Right.
the same Halloween picture every year in a row. Like my sister's something fun different and I'm like purple wizard. Like same thing. Didn't change. And I think I'm just kind of living out my childhood fantasy, to be honest, of wearing big, like extravagant garments, like not having power, but looking like you are like a god. You know what I mean?
Right.
I love the ethereal. I like to look at ethereal. I like to, you know what I mean? Like I want to just, I want a kid to look at, I want to be that drag queen that a kid looks at and goes,
Yeah.
oh my God, that's real? You know what I mean? I want a kid to look at me and think I'm out of a freaking movie or a cartoon. That's what I want to do. I want a kid, you know what I mean? Like, I love when kids do that. I love when kids look at me and they're just like,
yeah, I love
like,
that.
I love
Yeah,
you. You know what I mean?
I'm always like sounds from top to bottom and sparkles.
Yeah.
So I love seeing I love seeing kids, but also adults. Like I just love seeing people light up.
Me too.
See
No.
people just like, you know,
Yeah, that's my religion, is
Mm.
making people like doing this stuff, wearing sparkly stuff, and just like, it's just fun. It's just fun to wear bright colors. And yeah, I just like to be that kid that, like, if I would have saw me, I would have lost my shit. Are you kidding me? If I would have been walking around in one of my rhinestone sequin gowns and I saw me as a kid,
Right.
mom and dad would never have heard the end of it till they died.
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe my drag, I think, is just like, just being sparkly and shiny and just looking so freaking cool, you know?
Right. Yeah. So
So yeah, I think that was kind of the question.
Yeah, that totally works. What would you say to someone who was considering doing drag? What would your advice?
So when I started, I was like, okay, there's these groups of drag. You know what I mean? There was like Dragula, then there were drag queens, then there were drag queens, and then there were drag kings, and then there were piper queens, and then there were demon queens, and then and it's like, who can, like I literally just put whatever you want on your face, find something cool, put it on your head. Like if you like it, like do like craft. My biggest suggestion to people who want to do drag is get into crafts. Learn how to use a hot glue gun. Go get a bunch of cheap like rhinestones from Michael's. Glam up some shoes for your first, you know what I mean? Like make it an arts and craft. Like there's system. Okay, left hand is no, this one. There we go. My goodness, I can't do my lesson right normally, and now they're reverse. Don't invest right off the bat.
Don't spend a lot of money. Yeah.
No, don't do that. Just do a little bit. Make sure you like it, and then turn into arts and crafts. My best recommend arts and crafts. Learn to sew. You don't need a fancy sewing machine. Learn to hand sew. You can do amazing things with just like, you get some speed going. You can, you know what I mean? Yeah. So arts and crafts. Get into all of it. Like, don't skimp. You can never go too far. Like, fuck Drag Race. Like, they're always like, oh, you already did it. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to judges. That's not real. That's not real life. No one's gonna be. And if people are gonna be judging you, but guess what? You can't hear their thoughts. You don't care. You look great.
Right, because of your wig. You hear them. Right.
Yeah.
You can't see them. You can hear them. Any of that. Yeah. It's one thing with drag. I think I put it off for many years, just because I thought I had to. And it was like, okay, you have to be like the first time, and it's like, girl, that's gonna happen. Like you have to like buy it. I don't know. Just we all busted at least once, if many times. It's getting where we're today, and it's just practice. I think it's like, you're like, they're like, if you're an athlete or you're, I don't know, a doctor, or you're like, you get better with the more you do something. I think that's what, and you get more comfortable, and I think you get a little bit more comfortable you can
Oh yeah,
like
repetition.
experiment more and more
For
too.
sure. I basically had to start over with my makeup. Like after my like
Mhm.
2-year hiatus or whatever, I had to like yeah, it's repetition. It is. It's muscle memory. It's and you get good, you know what I mean? The more you do it, and then you start to see things like before they happen, you know what I mean? And you can see
Mhm.
things, how they're gonna plan out. And it's just, yeah, just repetition, keep going. And if you don't have the time or the mental capacity for it, that's okay. Start again in like 6 months. Okay.
Right, right.
Don't
You admit
recommend
it.
doing drag when you're in a bad place. Don't do that. Because then you
Oh,
will associate drag with that. Because I almost did that.
mm,
But I would have kept going with drag while I was in that space for those 2 years where I took a break. I don't think I'd probably have like kept doing it. That was my thing. I didn't want to grow to hate it.
got you.
You know, I didn't want to
Yep.
associate drag with that time when I wasn't really, really happy at all.
Mm,
So yeah, that's that's
yeah,
another
yeah.
one.
I know I hear that. You had mentioned you didn't have a drag mother, but do you have a drag family now? Or like what's the community? Drag community.
The community in Twin, it's established. There's
Mhm.
kind of like it's kind of like organized but disorganized kind of right now. Like it's kind of
Really? I mean
I
drag.
think it's going in between. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really gotten involved in the local. Like I hang out with Amelia, and then
Mhm.
Amelia does that stuff. I would like to get into that kind of stuff, but I don't know. Not now. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but I haven't really gotten involved with like like the LGBT community locally. I don't
Mhm.
really, except for shows. But I need to start. I also need to show off my makeup more because I do a half decent job. So.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you do a good job. Yeah, I was just curious if you had community or support or like people around you kind of helped encourage drag.
Oh yeah, no, I've had nothing but support.
Mhm.
Like on in every way. And the community, we actually have a pretty decent following. Like we have a really decent chunk of the community who like is like, hey, that's fun.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's the most
Mhm.
random people here. And they're like, I remember one time I was working at Dutch Bros and I was a runner and I had acrylics at the time because I was a nail tech.
Right.
And this big jacked up truck came through and I was like, oh my God, I have on
Right.
1.5 inch acrylics right now. They're gonna pull me into their truck, beat me up, and then dump like
Mm.
And they pull up, and I literally like hide my like nails in my shirt, and I have like my knuckles, and I'm like on the cabinet, like, what do you want? And the guy like was like, do you have nails on? And I was like, yeah. He's like, those are so cool. And then like the whole group of guys he was like, look at these nails, and they're like, whoa.
Right, right.
But
Yeah,
yeah, we
great.
haven't really like we don't have protesters. We haven't, at least in the past, not that I'm aware of, for Pride.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's honestly not bad, my encounters, but I've never really had a bad encounter
Yeah.
with like homophobia or like a hate. Like I've never really experienced anything like that
Mhm.
personally. I've been very lucky in that
Seems like a
sense that I
pretty
haven't.
a pretty
Hmm?
good group of people. It seems.
Oh
Julia
yeah,
says
and we
yes.
have some
Have
really
fun.
good
He says so.
people. Oh yeah, and we have some really good people like who are like on the committees and on the actual like LGBT like Southern Idaho boards and stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, looking up, I need to get more involved. Like I said like earlier, like jump in or like stay like shit or get off the pot.
Right, right, right. We're at about 40 minutes, so we have about 5 minutes. And folks who are watching, if you have any questions or comments that you want to make, now is a good time to do it. And Lavender, if you were to speak to something we haven't spoke to yet, or if you'd want to like just say something again,
Mhm.
it's your time.
Um, I think a chunk of my religious views growing up stems from my mom very much like questioning things.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? My mom's like, I grew up like Sasquatch, like I believe that shit's real. Like, I mean, there's like the pyramids, and like there's so many things that we just assume we know. Like
Mhm.
a bunch of the history we've been told is like
Right.
lies. Like question. A huge part
Yep.
of my religion is questioning, which a lot of
Mm.
religions don't want you to do.
Yeah.
That's my religion. Question, wonder. Like things are not like life's so much more exciting. than what they say it's been. History,
Mhm.
it's been terrible, but it's been so much more exciting. And there's things that we don't like, things are going to be discovered. Like, keep an open mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the world's going to change. We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe Jesus will come. Maybe Godzilla will come. I wouldn't be
Maybe they
surprised if
both will. They'll
maybe
come
they both
together.
will and fight.
Maybe
Yeah,
they're
like,
dating. I don't know.
they're boyfriends. They're so cute. I follow them on Instagram. I
Right?
love them. But like, honestly, at this point, nothing's gonna surprise me. Like,
Mm.
I yeah, question things,
Yeah.
have fun, read other history, like actually look
Mhm.
up history on like the internet, not like from a book in school. Those are bullshit.
Right.
Like it
It says
like
Jeezyzilla.
oh, I flashed everybody
Zilla.
with my belly
Yeah.
button.
It's all good.
Um, but yeah, I think that's it. I grew up very questioning things, and especially the older I get, especially the past couple
Yeah.
years, I'm all like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sensing something.
Right. Yeah, I like energy, and I can definitely like agree with like that, like the desire wonderment, like the dare
Yeah.
there's actually more than what I
Mm-hmm.
understand, or more than what I can even create, or I love
Mm-hmm.
finding wonder, and I think that's what drag does for me a little bit, is it lets me play, and do this
Oh
little thing.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
our dragness has been a part of history for a very, 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 very long time. So
that it has. Yeah.
stuff like this, you gotta
Well,
look for it. They didn't show us in the history books, but now they do. Well, not us specifically, but they will.
they will, and we're there. We're there. They just talk over it, right? Yeah. Well, thanks so much for
Of course.
doing this night. I've enjoyed getting to know you. Can't wait to be in the same time, like same room with you some point in time, because I really enjoy you. And thanks everyone who joined us. And join me time. I don't have any scheduled like I don't have any scheduled things, but keep an eye out. I'm sure I'll talk with someone soon. Take care. Bye bye. Those wrong buttons.